The name Bjorn Borg sent shivers down the spines of his opponents in the tennis world throughout the 70s and 80s. He was a genius on the court, a master of the game, and an inspiration to countless aspiring tennis players. Born in Sweden in 1956, Borg showed an early interest in tennis and started playing the game at the tender age of 6. Little did anyone know at that time that he would go on to become one of the greatest tennis players of all time. The genius of Bjorn Borg, how he ruled the tennis world. Bjorn Borg was a name that dominated the tennis world 4 decades ago. His dominance was such that he was often referred to as the greatest player of all time, and his records still stand as a testament to his genius. But how did he become such a force in the world of tennis? It's what we're exploring on today's episode of Forehand Frenzy. This is the story of Bjorn Borg, the genius who ruled the tennis world. One of the ways Borg achieved excellence was by working with a sports psychologist, a relatively new concept at the time. He realized that the mental game was just as important as the physical one, and he spent hours working on his focus, visualization, and self-talk. Borg's mental toughness was on full display during his epic battles with American player John McEnroe. The two players had a fierce rivalry in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and their matches were legendary. McEnroe was known for his fiery temper and aggressive style of play, and he often tried to get under Borg's skin by engaging in trash talk and other antics. But Borg refused to engage and instead remained calm and focused, using his mental strength to outlast his opponent. Borg was born in Stockholm, Sweden, in 1956. From a young age, he showed a natural aptitude for tennis and began playing competitively at the age of 9. His early success on the court caught the attention of the tennis world, and by the time he was a teenager, he was already being touted as a future star. In 1973, at the age of 16, Borg made his debut at Wimbledon. Although he lost in the first round, he impressed many with his skills and determination. The following year, he won his first title at the Italian Open, and his career began to take off. Borg's style of play was unique and innovative. He had a powerful serve and a strong forehand, but what set him apart was his ability to play from the baseline. Borg was one of the first players to use the double-handed backhand, which allowed him to hit the ball with more power and accuracy. He was also a master of the slice, which he used to great effect to change the pace and direction of the ball. But Borg's greatest strength was his mental toughness. He was a master of the art of concentration, and he could focus his mind with such intensity that he seemed almost invincible on the court. His opponents often found themselves frustrated and demoralized by his calm and unflappable demeanor. In 1974, having just turned 18, Borg defeated Manuel Orantes to win his first Grand Slam title at the French Open. He went on to win the French Open again in 1975, 1978, 1979, 1980, and 1981, becoming the first player in the Open era to win the tournament 4 times in a row. He also won the Wimbledon title in 1976, 1977, 1978, 1979, and 1980, and he was the runner-up in 1981. Borg's success on the court was not limited to the Grand Slam tournaments. He won a total of 64 singles titles during his career, including 30 titles on clay, 23 on the carpet, and 11 on grass. He was the first player to win over $1 million in prize money, and he was the top-ranked player in the world for a total of 109 weeks. Borg's rivalry with American player John McEnroe is one of the most famous in tennis history. The two players first met in the final of the 1979 Wimbledon tournament, which Borg won in 5 sets. They met again in the final of the US Open later that year, with McEnroe coming out on top in another 5-set thriller. The two players met a total of 14 times, with Borg winning 7 matches and McEnroe winning 7 matches. The Borg-McEnroe rivalry was not just about tennis. It was a clash of personalities and styles that captured the public's imagination. Borg was the cool and collected Swede, while McEnroe was the fiery and emotional American. Their matches were often tense and dramatic, with both players pushing each other to the absolute limits of their astonishing abilities. Off the court, Borg was a very private person. He rarely spoke to the media and was known for his cool and calm demeanor. He was almost aloof and detached, preferring to let his match play do the talking in place of words. He was also known for his distinctive style, which included long hair, a headband, and tightly fitting Fila clothing. What made Borg so special was his unique style of play, but in 1981, Borg shocked the tennis world by announcing his retirement at the age of 26. He cited burnout and a lack of motivation as the reasons for his decision. Many were stunned by Borg's decision, as he was at the peak of his career. The 1981 Wimbledon final between Borg and McEnroe is widely considered one of the greatest matches in tennis history. The two players battled it out for over 4 hours, with the match going to a fifth-set tiebreak. In the end, it was McEnroe who emerged victorious, but Borg's performance was nothing short of extraordinary. One of the factors that contributed to Borg's decision to retire was the intense pressure and scrutiny he faced as a top tennis player. He had been playing at the highest level since he was a teenager, and the constant media attention and expectation had taken a toll on him. Constant expectations of peak performance had become a burden that was overbearing for his temperament, or so it appeared. Borg had also been dealing with burnout, which is a common issue among professional athletes, especially tennis players who are forced to compete almost all year long with very little end-of-season downtime. He had been playing in tournaments almost non-stop for years, and the physical and mental strain had become too much to bear. In addition to the pressures of the sport, Borg was also dealing with personal issues that may have played a role in his decision to retire. He had recently gone through a painful divorce, and his relationship with his fiancée, Mariana Simeonescu, was also under strain. Borg had always been a private person, and the media attention that came with his success had been difficult for him to handle. He may have felt that retiring from the sport was the best way to regain control of his life and focus on his personal issues. Borg's retirement at the age of 26 was a shock to the tennis world, and many fans and experts wondered what milestones of achievement in the world of men's tennis could have been if he had continued playing. This was because although Borg had already achieved so much, physically he may still have been several years away from his peak. In a very real sense, he may have been riding the upward crest of a wave on a journey to untold heights of tennis dominance and supremacy. Nevertheless, Borg's decision to retire did not diminish his undeniable and resilient legacy as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. His rivalry with McEnroe and his dominant performance on the court had cemented his place in tennis history. He had also paved the way for future generations of tennis players, showing that it was possible to play at the highest level at a young age and to leave the sport with dignity, a powerful legacy, and one's sanity intact. The precise reasoning and timing behind Bjorn Borg's decision to retire from tennis at the age of 26 remains a topic of discussion and debate among tennis fans and experts. Today, Borg is remembered as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. His influence on the sport can still be seen today, from the way players dress to the way they play the game. He is a true legend of tennis, and his genius will be remembered for generations to come. While the pressures of the sport and personal issues may have played a role in his decision, his legacy as one of the greatest tennis players of all time is secure. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about Borg's amazing tennis legacy. Thanks for watching this episode of Forehand Frenzy. If you enjoyed our content, feel free to drop this video a thumbs up, and why not subscribe to our channel for more splendid content. In the meantime, here are 2 more amazing videos from our channel for you to check out. See you over there!